I'm going to start doing cat videos because they get so many more views than my videos. Here is a cat. Meow. Actually, it's an Egyptian type of cat, and the reason why I'm talking about it is because I'm dealing with Egyptian times at the moment in my videos. Now, these cats, although not really connected to the Anunnaki in any way, are hugely important in Egyptian times. In fact, if you actually even hurt one of these cats, you would be put to death. That's how, and I wish we had those laws these days. But they even mummified their poor little cats. That's how important cats were. There was even a cat goddess stroke person called Bastet. And her sister, she was actually the daughter of Ra, and her sister was Kemet, which if you look here, you'll see she's depicted as a lion, which if you watch my previous videos, you will see there she is. Wait, this is the Princess Bride story with giants and monsters, etc. So look at this character here. Now, if you do that in proportion to the same size as the Anunnaki, that would be about right, 8 to 12 foot tall compared to the people of the time. So that would explain that the Anunnaki were in Egypt, which is what we've been saying all along. But dinosaurs, now look at this creature here, long-necked creature being roped by, look, captured by two people. Now, we know these are not giraffes. These are not like any creatures we've ever seen. So what are they? They've got an ox down here. So that's fine. They did have oxes in Egypt. But what are these? Now, they don't knock these up for fun. They really don't. And they don't make someone tall for the fun of it. Everything's in proportion. So what were these dinosaurs, maybe? In my previous video, I was saying that the ancient gods in Egypt were taller than humans, and people were saying, no, they're probably just little kids, or it's metaphoric that they're talking about them being 8 to 12 foot tall. Well, I thought I'd just point out some other depictions here of them being taller. But that stems from the Anunnaki, because obviously the Anunnaki, if you've watched my videos, you'll know that they're 8 to 12 foot tall. Now, look, there's people here with beards. You don't get kids with beards, not as far as I'm aware, which means that this isn't children. So in which case, this is either now metaphoric or they are generally that tall. So when you're looking at them holding a goat, I can't hold a goat like that unless I was 8 to 12 foot tall. And again, another carving. So this could either be metaphoric or they were real that size. Look at the size of his head there compared to a horse when you actually compare it to a real person's head and the horse. So you can see that they're carving them with giant size. Look, that's a full-size lion with a mane. And again, Iana there, or Ishtar, or as people might want to know her, Aphrodite with a lion. So she would actually walk around with lions as pets. And again, here, this is Greece now, showing, again, full size compared to smaller people. If you look there, the difference between them. Now, when it gets to Greece times, they are a tad smaller compared to they're not the 12 foot, but obviously that's probably because they either are offspring of the Anunnaki and humans, or, in other words, demigods, or they are old in age, which they actually do get old in age, the Anunnaki. So let's have a look at some more Greece pictures. Tall, small, beards, big beards. Now that's a huge difference between the size of these people and these. Huge. So a couple of foot at least, I would say. And one more there showing some people and a fully fledged sized human. So is it metaphoric when I say these were large? No. And that's because we have actually found the skeletons. And unfortunately, people give them to the Smithsonian. If you want to know more about that before you start trying to troll me, go back, watch my videos, or do some research on the Smithsonian and giant skeletons, and then you'll come back and agree, yes, we did find, and we have found, giant skeletons of 8 to 12 foot tall, as well as possibly larger, but we certainly have with the 8 to 12 foot tall. I'm going to give you my view on what the ancient giants were. Not the Anunnaki that were 8 to 12 foot tall, but the huge giants, 30, 40, 50 plus foot high. Now this image here is a Photoshop image because there was a competition to see who can design the best looking giant skeleton, and there's loads of photographs. Now they deliberately do this because they did the same thing with the crop circles, where the British intelligence, I'm not going to say their name, paid people, two particular guys back in the late 70s, early 80s, to go around and tell everyone that they're the ones that created the crop circles all over the world, when we know they didn't do them all over the world. They did do some, so of course then everyone stops looking for giants, because now if anyone else finds a giant and takes a picture of it, they'll say it's that Photoshop competition version, you see. So it's a great way of debunking things. So anyway, going back to my theory on the giants. Now, we've got a person here who's 8'11", at his tallest, Robert Wadlow. And as you can see, he had a thing called gigantism. Now, there also was a thing in the past, Egyptian times, as dwarfism, and we obviously have that now. So there's gigantism and dwarfism. Now, Robert Wadlow wasn't an Anunnaki, but he did have gigantism. But the Anunnaki didn't have gigantism compared to the little humans, because that's the size they were. Now, when they bred with humans, they had offspring. Now, depending on who they were, it was either a demigod or a Nephilim, or just an offspring. Now, technically, why weren't the demigods, just because there was an offspring of Enki or Enlil, what made them a demigod compared to an offspring of another Anunnaki and a human that gave us the Nephilim? So really what it boils down to is, in my opinion, the ones that ended up being ultra tall and, cannibalism and etc., had gigantism. Now, obviously, bearing in mind these are 8 to 12 foot in the first place, so having a child with a human and then having gigantism would give you massive thingies. And we have had giant skeletons. Watch my previous videos to find out where they were hidden and destroyed. But so that's what I think, and that's why we have gigantism to this day. We don't have elephant tusks growing out of us because we never had that. So in other words, our DNA has what we had in the past. And of course, if we had gigantism from 8 to 12 foot Anunnakis, that would make sense that gigantism would be prevalent still to this day. 750 videos. Thank you so much to everyone that supported me thus far. There'll be so many more videos coming on TikTok, obviously on my website as well, ourtruehistory.co.uk. Just in case you're interested in more stuff, I've got some on my Patreon page. I'll just go through some of those ones. What happened to Ra / Murdoch? So these are longer videos that's on my Patreon page, just in case you want to carry on the journey with me. Antarctica extra land or flat Earth I talk about, and can you really channel an alien? And as you see, so there's some good stuff that I don't normally talk about elsewhere, and even my thoughts on how they cut the blocks, and that's not using chisels. Star Child, which we know is pretty cool, and then I go through different whistleblowers and stuff. So there's so much more new stuffs that you've not seen.